Hello there and Assalamu alaikum. This is Amnah from My English Matters and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's episode is about understanding the differences between you're welcome, where you spell your with Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, you're welcome, where you spell your as in Y-O-U-R, and you're welcomed, which is Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcomed with a D, right? That may sound a bit confusing, but let's go through the slides together. Now, when learning English, it's easy to get confused by phrases that sound similar but have different meanings and uses. So when you're saying these phrases, they sound very similar, so it's not really a problem when you're speaking. But it is important for you to know the differences when it comes to writing, whether you're writing an email, you're writing a formal or informal letter, or you're writing text messages like WhatsApp or Telegram. So let's break down each one to understand their differences and proper usage. Now, the first one is you're welcome, which is spelled Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Now, this is a common phrase that is used in response to someone saying thank you. It's a polite way to acknowledge gratitude and make the other person feel appreciated. Now, the your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, in this phrase is a contraction of you are. So you always need to spell it with the apostrophe, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. So here's an example. Siti says, "Thank you for helping me with my project, Ben." And Ben says, "You're welcome." So in this context, welcome is used as an adjective, meaning gladly received or freely permitted. Now remember, an adjective describes or modifies a noun or pronoun, providing more information about its attributes, qualities, or states. All right, so what about you're welcome, where your is spelt Y-O-U-R? Right, the phrase you're welcome is not as common in everyday conversation. However, it can be used to refer to the act of welcoming someone. For example, "You're welcome at the event made us feel very special." So in that sentence, welcome is a noun and your is a possessive adjective. So if you're not familiar, possessive adjectives show who or what possesses or owns something. They indicate possession or ownership. Here are the possessive adjectives in English and their uses: my, your, his, her, its, our, their. So you would say my ball, your ball, his ball, her ball, its ball, our ball, or their ball, right? So those are possessive adjectives and how you would use them. Now, remember, it's very rare to use the phrase "you're welcome," where you spell your, Y-O-U-R, and it should not be used to respond to someone saying thank you. Remember, when you say it, it's fine. Say "you're welcome," because it just sounds the same as your with Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Sounds the same, right? But when it comes to writing, remember, do not spell "you're welcome," Y-O-U-R. All right, let's move on. You're welcomed, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcomed, W-E-L-C-O-M-E-D. So I'm going to stress on saying welcomed. I wouldn't usually say it like that in real life, but I'm doing it for the purpose of this video. And I know that people are also listening to the podcast on audio. So, you're welcomed is also less commonly used, but it can be found in specific contexts. So, in this phrase, welcomed, welcomed, is the past participle of the verb welcome. It implies that the action of welcoming has taken place, typically referring to a situation where someone has been greeted or received warmly. Let's look at this example. You are welcomed every time you enter the hotel lobby. Right? So if it was contracted, the you are, it would be your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. You're welcomed every time you enter the hotel lobby. So in this sentence, the phrase you're welcomed is used to convey that every time someone enters the hotel lobby, they are greeted or received warmly. All right. So remember, you should not use you're welcomed to respond to someone saying thank you. All right. Let's summarize the differences, shall we? You're welcome, spelt Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, is a polite response to someone saying thank you. You're welcome, Y-O-U-R, could describe someone's act of receiving someone, but it is less commonly used and can sound awkward without context. And then you are welcomed refers to the act of being greeted warmly. So you are welcomed, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcomed, W-E-L-C-O-M-E-D, refers to the act of being greeted warmly using the past participle form of the verb. Right. So if all of this is just making you even more confused, which is the complete opposite objective of this episode, just remember this one thing. Use you are welcome, or the contracted version, your, where you spell Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcome, for when you're responding to someone saying thank you. You're welcome, Y-O-U-R, welcome, and Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcomed, have different meanings and are less common in everyday conversation. Remember, this applies to writing, not speaking, because most of the time you're not going to be, nobody's going to point out whether you used Y-O-U-R-E or Y-O-U-R because they sound the same, right? So it's important to know the difference when you are writing. Here's a common mistake to avoid: mixing up Y-O-U apostrophe R-E and Y-O-U-R. So you're mixing up your and your, which sounds the same. Again, sounds the same when you say it out loud, when you're speaking. But it is important to know the difference when you are writing. It shows a certain level of professionalism and a more less a better level of English if you know that difference. So Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contraction of you are, while your is a possessive adjective. Remember what I said earlier about possessive adjectives when you're saying your ball, my ball. Okay. Now remember, even native speakers confuse the spelling of these two. I've seen native speakers write Y-O-U apostrophe R when they actually mean Y-O-U-R, or the other way around. So you're not alone in making this common mistake. But here's a tip that I want to share about how you can remember which spelling to use in writing. Always proofread your written text. If you can replace your with you are, then the correct spelling should be Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. If not, then it's likely supposed to be your, Y-O-U-R. Because remember, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is a contracted or a shortened version of you are. All right, so let's go through some examples. Your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, your cat is cute. So if I were to replace that with you are, if I read that again, and it would sound like this: your cat is cute. So that's wrong, right? It should actually be your, Y-O-U-R, cat is cute. Here's another example. You're too kind. So I'm actually trying to say you are too kind. So the spelling should be Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, too kind. You are too kind. Thank you for that compliment. And when you're saying you are right, you're right, what should the spelling be? It should be Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, because if I were to replace that with you are, it would be you are right. And that is grammatically correct. So the spelling is Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. All right. I hope that can help you avoid making the mistake of mixing up your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, with your, Y-O-U-R, which sounds the same in speaking, but in writing, it's spelled differently. All right, let's test your understanding of what we've learned today. Now, imagine that you were in a brainstorming session at work and you want to encourage all the team members to share their ideas and opinions. So, based on this scenario, what is the correct phrase to use? Should it be all ideas are welcome, W-E-L-C-O-M-E, or should it be all ideas are welcomed, W-E-L-C-O-M-E-D? I'll just give you a bit of time to think about that. So the situation is you're in a brainstorming session at work. You want to encourage your team members to share their ideas and opinions. What is the correct phrase to use in this context? All ideas are welcome. All ideas are welcomed, with a D at the end of welcome. All right, ready? The answer is all ideas are welcome, W-E-L-C-O-M-E, not W-E-L-C-O-M-E-D. So while all ideas are welcomed, with a D at the end, is grammatically correct, it's more common and natural to say all ideas are welcome. So all ideas are welcome without the D conveys a general openness to ideas. Whereas all ideas are welcomed with the D at the end suggests that each idea is actively being welcomed, typically in a specific instance or event. It's similar to my earlier example where I said you are welcomed every time you enter the hotel lobby. So it's like a physical act of welcoming someone when you're using welcome as a verb, right? So for general use, especially in invitations or in email where you have to invite people to a brainstorming session or something, always use all ideas are welcome. It's the preferred way to say it. All right. Let's wrap up, shall we? So in this episode, we shared the differences between you are welcome, or the contracted version, which is you're welcome, Y-O-U-R welcome, and you are welcomed. We also talked about how you should always use your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, welcome, for responding to someone saying thank you. We also talked about the difference between Y-O-U-R-E and Y-O-U-R and how to avoid mixing them up by proofreading your work. And when you want to encourage people to share ideas, use all ideas are welcome. That is the preferred way to say it. Okay, knowing these subtle differences, especially in writing, is important so you can avoid making mistakes in email or text. So, next time someone says thank you in an email or in a text message, you can confidently respond with you're welcome, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, and know that you are using the correct phrase. That's all from me for today. I hope to see you in our next episode. If you're not yet on our email list, make sure you go to myenglishmatters.com where we send weekly emails to help you improve your English and confidence. That's all from me, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Goodbye and Assalamu alaikum.